Howdy folks, CJ Curry here. Happy Taco Tuesday. We've got a massive slate of WNBA games, a total of 6 games across the W. So of course we're going to be taking a look at a few picks that I'm liking over on PrizePicks. If you're new to the channel, haven't subscribed before, this is a grand opportunity for you to get subscribed. It's free for you to do. I don't charge you anything for being a subscriber here, and I'm dropping regular videos talking about different player props across multiple leagues, WNBA, MLB, NBA, and so on. So if that's something you're into, definitely hit the subscribe button. Also, leave a like for me. Let's try to get at least 50 or more likes. I'm going to set the bar real low. 100 would be ideal, 100 or more, but I'm going to set it low. Let's go 50 or more likes in today's video. All right. Without further ado, let's take a look at this slate. We got a total of 6 games tipping off at 7 p.m. Eastern time. Lots of action across the WNBA. So even though the NBA has kind of obviously tapered down, we're in the final stretches here. OKC's 1 game away from winning the whole thing. We've got lots of other sports going on, gang. WNBA, MLB included. It's going to be a WNBA, MLB type of summer. So nonetheless, let's get into today's picks. Of course, I'm playing over on PrizePicks. If you guys are not PrizePicks members yet, definitely think about signing up, making your first deposit. Use promo code CJ Curry, and when you play your first $5, whether you win or lose on that, they're going to give you $50 back. I've left a link for you down in the description of today's video. So what are we playing on PrizePicks? Well, one thing that I like about PrizePicks is that they offer a player fantasy score prop. And one gal in particular has been doing a very good job of going over her fantasy score prop, and that's Kayla Thornton of the GSV, the Golden State Valkyries. And I'm liking her to go over again on 28 fantasy score, facing off against a Dallas team that's just not very good this season. Unfortunately, the Wings have not had great success, but there are some bright points like Paige Buford, and we'll talk about her in just a minute. But Kayla Thornton has been somebody dominating her 28 fantasy score number all season long. Hopefully she does so again today. So we're going to check out a couple of different NBA player models, and we're going to get you some projections, take a look at some of her game logs. And first and foremost, we got to go over to Rotowire. It's one of my favorite tools that are out there right now. Rotowire does a fantastic job of covering sites like PrizePicks, Underdog, DraftKings Pick 6, Sleeper, and a whole host of different sports books. Not only that, but it covers a lot of different sports. Could be WNBA, MLB, MMA, NFL, NBA, you name it. Even esports are included. So if you're interested in trying out Rotowire, 6-month or a 12-month Picks membership, you save 25% off when you use code CJ Curry. I've left a link for you down in the description of today's video. But punching in Kayla Thornton's name here, you're going to see a lot of lean more options on this Rotowire tool. Most of these are going to be things like fantasy score, PRA. I mean, she's been crushing all these. PR, those are probably my top 3 ways to play Kayla Thornton. This will be the first time, though, I want to point out, first time she'll be facing the Dallas Wings this season. So let's pop open her fantasy score player card here. She is projected for 37.22 fantasy score. That's right. You heard me correct. 37.22 is her projection on the Rotowire WNBA projection models. That's more than 9 fantasy score higher than her fantasy score line on PrizePicks, which is just 28. Now, if we take a look at her games from this season, you can see that she's got a 70% hit rate, meaning the 10 games that she's played in, she's gone over in 7 of 10, averaging about 29.2 fantasy score per game. Again, hasn't faced Dallas yet this season, so this will be kind of going into uncharted territory. We're flying blind a little bit, but gotta love the consistency that she's shown here. When she goes over, I mean, she really goes over. The last 3 games in particular have been especially good. 42.2 fantasy score against the Las Vegas Aces, 35.7 against the Sparks, and 34.9 against Seattle. Those are some pretty tough front courts, all right? So if she could get it done against those squads, I'm liking her chances today of getting it done against the Dallas Wings. So things looking pretty darn good here for Kayla Thornton on this first projection. But of course, I've got access to more than one projection model, and every projection model is going to yield a slightly different result. So let's check out some of these other projections. For the next one, we're going to go over to Fantasy Labs. Fantasy Labs does a really good job with their projections. In case you didn't know, Fantasy Labs has FanDuel projections, and FanDuel scoring for WNBA and NBA is the same on PrizePicks for their fantasy scoring. So if you're going to be using projection models like I am, make sure that you're using projection models that are using FanDuel projections. All right, so let's punch in Kayla Thornton's name. When we do so, you see she's projected for about 29.36 fantasy score, putting her over that 28 fantasy score number where she's listed at on PrizePicks. So that's 2 projection models now, liking Thornton to go over. And of course, we got one more projection model. This one's going to be Line Star. Line Star, again, kind of like Rotowire, offers a whole bunch of different projections for a whole bunch of different leagues and support sites like Underdog and PrizePicks and some of your sports books. But their projection for Kayla Thornton's fantasy score is 31.4, which is more than 28 by quite a bit. So liking what I'm seeing here for Kayla Thornton across the board today. 70% hit rate prop, projecting well over on multiple projection models. And as I mentioned, the Dallas Wings aren't very good. So the matchup on paper looks like a solid one for Kayla Thornton. Let's move on to pick number 2. And for this one, we're going Marina Mabry, and we're going to be looking at her assists. She's only at 3 assists today. Very low number for Marina Mabry, and she's been making good on 3 or more assists in a majority of the games that she's played in this season and in a majority of the previous matchups she's had against the Indiana Fever. So 3 assists should be doable. She's going to be someone who's going to have the ball in her hand. She's going to be touching that basketball quite a bit. But let's start things off here by going over to the Prop Professor, my optimizer of choice. This tool is good. It's really good, darn it. What it does is it goes out and scans a bunch of different sports books, scans a bunch of different DFS pick'em apps. It removes the juice or the VIG, the tax, in other words, that these sports books charge us for making bets and wagers on their sports books. And it basically gives you true or fair odds. Now, I was using the Daily Grind Fantasy Optimizer before. This product is better. It's like the Daily Grind Fantasy Optimizer evolved on steroids, okay? A better product, and if you want to save some money, 25% off when you use promo code CJ Curry. Of course, there's a link for you down in the description of today's video. Links to everything down in the video, but let's go ahead and punch in Marina Mabry's name. And when we do so, you see she's got about a 52.7% chance of landing 3 or more assists today. So I'm liking the fact that this is, mathematically speaking, an advantageous play for us. You can see the sites that offer her at 3.5 assists. Minus 143 betting favor to go over 3.5. Minus 145 betting favorite on some of these other books. Minus 151 betting favorite. Minus 160 betting favorite to clear 3.5 assists. Well, to go under 3.5 assists. So what PrizePicks has kind of done here is split the difference between the 4.5 and the 3.5. All right, so they put her down at 3. But I'm seeing the fact that, you know, she's at 4.5 assists on some of these sites like DraftKings. I mean, that's a good sign for me that, you know, she could land somewhere between 3 and 4 dimes today. So if it ties, if it pushes, it's not the worst thing in the world. That just means your entry gets reverted down by 1 pick. So let's take a look at Marina Mabry's numbers over on Rotowire. Now, the top way to play Marina Mabry today, the lean more option of the day is going to be her 3 assists. You can see here, when we pop this open, she's projected for about 3.6 assists, according to the Rotowire projection tools. When we look at her 2025 game logs, in other words, game logs from this season, she's landed 3 or more assists now in 70% of the games that she's played in. So 7 out of 10 hit rate, right around 3.8 assists per game average. Currently riding a 3-game streak of 3 or more assists. She's hit the over in 4 out of her last 5 as well. So pretty consistent here on this particular prop. Now, against Indiana in the past, has really done well at racking up the dimes. I mean, total of 11 head-to-head games. 1 game this season where she had 5 assists. Rest of these are from previous seasons, but those 11 head-to-head games, she has gone over in 73%, averaging 4 assists per game. So I would say that there's a pretty decent chance that she has at least 3, but hopefully 4 or more. Again, had 5 earlier this season, back on May 30th, a couple weeks ago, when facing this Indiana Fever team. So things looking pretty good here for Marina Mabry. So that's projection number I'm going to get you another projection for this one. We're going to go over to Fantasy Labs. Now, this isn't going to give us an actual projection number, but it's just going to give us a little bit of an insight, a little detail as whether we should be leaning over or under, more or less. And in this case, Marina Mabry at 3 assists, about a 54.5% chance based on the Fantasy Labs projections that she will have more than 3 assists. So I like that. That is a good sign, indicator that perhaps she has 3 assists or better tonight. Going to check out another projection. Again, this one's going to be Line Star. When we type in Marina Mabry's name over on the Line Star projection tool, you're going to see she is projected for about 4.1 assists today. So everything kind of pointing up for Marina Mabry to have at least 3 dimes in this given matchup. So that's pick number 2 for you. Let's get you another pick. Pick number 3 is going to be Gabby Williams of the Seattle Storm. Now I'm looking at her assists as well. She's out here at 4 dimes. It's been a number that she's been doing a really good job of getting at least 4 on. So let's dig into this one a little bit deeper. She's going up against the Los Angeles Sparks today. Let's see if she can continue this nice little hit streak of 4 or more assists given this matchup. So we're going to go over here to the Prop Professor Optimizer. Punch in Gabby Williams' name. And some of these props are a little flat. What I mean by that is like 50% hit rate. So kind of a coin flip, could go over, could go under at about the same odds or about the same rate. But the one that's a little bit higher than the rest is her assists at 4. Now, you're going to see her at about 4.5 assists on most books. At 4.5, people are betting the under. Looks like the money's coming in on the under at 4.5 on these sports books. But I will point out that, some of these books, some of these sites like ProfitX, they have her at minus 101 to go over 4.5 assists. So you're seeing a little bit of minus odds on the over on some of these books, which, some of these folks out here believe she could have at least 5 assists today. But if she lands on 4, she lands on 4. Again, doesn't necessarily mean you lose the slip. It just means that the slip doesn't make you quite as much money. You go from like a 6 pick down to a 5 pick if she lands on exactly 4 assists. I'll take that. It's better than losing. But nonetheless, let's look at some other projections here on Gabby Williams. Starting off with Rotowire, of course, a lot of different ways you can play Gabby Williams. She's been doing a really good job this season at hitting a majority of her props, but I'm going to look at the 4 assists today because of the consistency. And when we take a look at the projection, she's projected for about 3.91 assists, which puts her right around that 4 number. But take a look at the games from this season. She's played a total of 11 so far in 2025, 73% hit rate. So 4 or more assists in 73% of the games that she's played in, averaging right around 4.3 assists per game. Now, we've seen her have assist upside of, 5, 6, and even 7 assists in some recent games against Phoenix and Minnesota. So she's definitely got the ability to crack more than 4 assists if things are going her way. Now, against the Los Angeles Sparks, this is from last season, so take it with a grain of salt. But 4 assists in one game, 3 assists in another. So not the greatest results in the world for Gabby Williams. But again, I'm more interested in what she's done this season than what she's done last season. This will be the first time that she faces the Los Angeles Sparks this season. So a lot of personnel changes, a lot of roster movement. We'll have to see how things go in this matchup this time around. But loving what I'm seeing here in terms of her consistency on this given prop. Moving forward, checking out some other projections here for Gabby Williams. Let's see if Fantasy Labs has any Gabby Williams projections. Nothing for Gabby Williams. Okay. Nothing really standing out there, but let's go check out Line Star. We'll see if there's any projections for her over there. There is. All right. So they have her at 5.2 projected assists today. Not bad. And it helps that the LA Sparks are giving up a crap load of assists per game, almost 21 assists per game. So one of the more giving teams, almost the most giving team when it comes to assists per game. So really good matchup on paper here. Everything kind of checks out for Gabby Williams. Hopefully she gets the job done for us today. So what else do we have? Well, I'm going to stick with the guards and the assists, but this one's going to have rebounds and assists. And I'm talking about Paigey girl Bukers, 11.5 rebounds and assists. I'm looking to take the under on this one. It's our only under of today's video, our only less option. But once we get into some of the numbers, you're going to kind of see why I'm leaning this way. and I'll explain now. So let's go over to the prop professor first and foremost. When we punch in Paige Bucher's name, you're going to see a few different ways you can play Paige Bucher's. Now I'm going to avoid this points plus assists under because Paige Bucher is a walking bucket. She's been getting some good scoring games in, and there's some data that would support, some sportsbook data that would support going under on this particular prop. 25.5 points plus assists. It was at 24.5 that they, being PrizePicks, bumped it up to 25.5, but I'm going to skip over that one, and I'm going to go down here to this one, the under on her rebounds and assists. Just a few more data points meaning sports books, DFS pick'em apps that are kind of supporting this given prop. So a little bit more data in sources for us to kind of rely on here, but nonetheless, 53.4% chance that she stays under 12 rebounds plus assists. So this one's looking pretty good here on the optimizer. If we head on over to Fantasy Labs and we punch in her name there, you're going to see a couple of different ways that you could play Paige Bucher's. One being the points and assists under. Fantasy Scores, another one under. No information on the rebounds and assists from Fantasy Labs, but over on Rotowire, we do have some intel on this one. And so over to Rotowire we go, and we check out Paige Bucher's here at the 11.5 rebound plus assist number. She's projected for about 11, so they do have her going under. And of course, you always want to shave off like an additional 10 to 15% of any of these projection models. And this season alone, she's appeared in 8 games. She's gone under in most of those games. 5 out of 8 games, she has actually stayed under 11.5 rebounds and assists. So only a 38% hit rate in terms of her going over. She's averaging right around 10.6 rebounds and assists per game, almost a whole rebound and assist lower than where her line currently sits today. Now, this will be the first time she faces Golden State, so kind of flying blind once again. Not really sure what's going to happen here, but I'm just riding with the fact that she has gone under in a majority of the games, and the fact that she is also projected to go under on the Rotowire projection models. So we're going to go over to LineStar and check out some more projections here for Paige Bucher's. She might have a good scoring game, but hopefully she's not adding any of those tertiary stats like rebounds and assists. Now, you take a look at this projection for Paige Bucher's on the LineStar WNBA projections, and you're going to see she's projected for 7.4 rebounds plus assists, which is a far cry from 12. It's a big, massive under in terms of the projections. So I'm going to ride with this one as well. I'll throw this one into my PrizePicks slips and see how she fares today in this given matchup. But yeah, we talked about the Dallas Wings not being very good. Hopefully that is the case again tonight against Golden State. But that is pick number 4, the final pick of today's video. Now's the part where I shut up and I turn things over to you guys. What's your favorite player of the day? Do you have a WNBA prop you're really liking? Maybe it's MLB, maybe it's some other sport. Leave it down in the comment section below. Help your fellow man or woman with a winning player prop. If you happen to leave a winner down in the comment section below, I'll pick somebody in the next video to win a free month of Dub Club, which is a $20 value. And I'm still running that $15 off your first month of Dub Club special. That promotion's available. You'll find the link down in the description of this video, down in the comment section of this video. But good luck on all your picks, plays, and parlays. Hopefully Taco Tuesday treats you well. I know I need some tacos in my life, so I'm going to go get to it. Catch you guys on the inside. Peace.